kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to Sim Racing Media. We are back here live on a Tuesday night, once again with the Western States Racing League. This is season number 54 for these Truck Series drivers. Round number 2 at Iowa Speedway. Just about 20 minutes to the east of Des Moines, Iowa. In the cornfields is a 7 1/8 mile D-shaped oval. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I'm Liam Irving up at the booth, joined by Mike DeMoney. And Mike, we haven't called one of these races together in, I want to say, years.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while since we've called one of these races. We used to do it all the time when we first started out here, but glad to be back on the mic with you, and glad to see what these guys can do here in another season from Western States Racing League, man.
Yeah, we're starting this season off with a little bit of short track action. Last week, we got it done in Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park, and that was a fairly clean affair. Jacob Jensen was able to take away the lead after about 25 or so laps and really didn't look back from there on out. Continues on his dominating run after last year winning 6 times en route to his first championship with the Western States Racing League, winning the season opener at IRP, brings him pretty good momentum coming up into another short track here in Iowa. Mike, it's not exactly super short track vibes, but how do you feel about this 7/8 mile out in the middle of nowhere in the cornfields?
Well, it's definitely going to be a little bit different than IRP. These guys are going to, judging by practice anyway, they've been sliding all over the track. So we'll see how that tends to shape up. It is a little, probably have a little more wear on the tires than we also saw at IRP. So these guys are definitely set for 140 laps of excitement here. They only have 3 tire sets laying in the pits. So we'll see what strategies come to fruition as we work our way through these laps.
Yeah, and of course, these guys rock 80% fuel, so they're not going to be able to go quite what the Cup Series was able to do. Would still anticipate this being about a one-stop race here, I would say. It's, I don't know, it's going to be close, but I think these guys should be able to stretch to around that 70-lap mark on fuel. Took a look quickly at the weather there. You saw it was 67 degrees ambient temperature. That's not too bad for an Iowa springtime sort of day. Obviously, it's winter now, but we can't race in the snow here. Track temp, though, up at 99 degrees with the sun being out and beating down on some of this new dark, fresh pavement. That's going to put some extra heat and cause some of that slipping and sliding that you were talking about, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. And you get out of the groove just a little bit. Probably going to be more of a one groove type race if I'm not mistaken here.
Yeah, I think you'll be able to get maybe half a lane to a lane up and get some momentum, but I don't see these guys ripping around the outside, ripping around the wall like we used to see, maybe 5 or so years ago with the Xfinity cars before that repave.
Yeah, definitely not. Looks like everybody has finished qualifying, so qualifying is wrapped up here. Bentley Glazer going to be starting on the pole, so let these guys jump over and get lined up, and we'll go trackside momentarily. Get these guys all set up here. On just a couple more drivers there. We do have a field that is full. 32 drivers are going to take part here tonight, so definitely lots of drivers jumping in here at at Iowa.
It's definitely going to be a super fun track here, and with this much traffic, I would imagine lapped cars are going to be an issue early. We saw that happening a little bit last week, but to no avail to anybody trying to catch up to Jacob Jensen. We'll see what we got, though. Bentley Glazer on the pole with Jensen to his outside.
Ray Partridge, Justin Michael going to roll off in row 2. Row 3, Charles Woods and Jeff Hollingsworth. Row 4, Bob Beltrami and Wayne Hutchinson. Row 5, Chris Walker and Paul Krumrei. Ryan Steele and Jeff Wills are going to make up row number 6. Row 7, Todd Miles and Julian Ricci in that number 1 machine. David Weaver and Barry Phil, row number 8. Starting P17 is Michael Melfeld Jr. with John Kenyon. Charlie Widener, last week's runner-up, and Wayne Fleet going to roll off in row 10. Earl Weaver and James Dorr are 21st, 22nd. Alan Bergen and Dustin Burns in row number 12. Heath Smith and Brian Barnes, 25th, 26th. Row 14, Shane Jensen and Ricky Bozer. Scott Kukas and Keith Kellman, row 15. And Troy Campbell and William Fletcher, if they decide to join, are starting at the tail of the field.
And it looks like Heath Smith potentially wasn't able to get on track in time for the grid here So we'll keep an eye on him if he's able to get in here, maybe potentially start it from the pit lane. He's going to have that extra lap, as we do here at short tracks for pace laps, just to give him a couple extra seconds in case he can get here. So we'll keep an eye on that as that develops, but we've got ourselves 140 laps of incredible short track racing coming our way. These guys are going to be, well, as all over the racetrack as they possibly can be. It's going to be tough to make any passes on that outside once you get out of that darker, fresher pavement, but we shall see. 3 attempts at a green-white checker if we need it. Then, of course, we've got the rule, if the caution comes out on the first lap of any start or restart, we're going to go single file. Bentley Glazer on the pole here. He's got Jacob Jensen, last week's winner, last season's champion. Whole heck of a lot of momentum on that outside of the front row. But Bentley Glazer looks to play spoiler. Green flag is out. We're racing here in the Midwest. Even getting into turns 1 and 2. The inside lane of Bentley Glazer trying to prevail. He's got a little bit of momentum. But up on that top side is Jacob Jensen. He's got Justin Michael to just about a car length behind him. Now Michael cuts down to the bottom, and Bentley Glazer's going to be able to get clear for the race lead to lead lap number 1.
Yeah, definitely. You saw the way they moved down to the bottom, tried to get as low as they could in that corner, slide up off towards the outside, use up every bit of that new asphalt there as they are rolling through. Like we have a car going already.
We got trouble. Michael Milfelt, Shane Jensen's around on the inside. It doesn't look like there's significant contact. Charlie Widener may have gotten a piece of that, as well as Julian Ricci.
Yeah, it looks like Julian Ricci might have got the worst of it. Let's go back and take a look real quick.
Down the back stroke. He gets sideways coming up off the 2 and tank slaps the inside wall. And then there's another incident which looked like potentially Barry Phil getting turned off of the front bumper of somebody.
Take a look, see what happened to Barry Phil maybe.
62. Widener also gets loose coming up off of 2. Got a lot of guys struggling here on old tires, and it's Milfelt who gets in to the 98. Oh, and there's significant contact for Weaver. Shane Jensen just locks up the brakes to avoid it. Ends up capping the wall with the nose, but doesn't look like anything significant for that number 8 truck.
Yeah, first caution of the night.
Only on lap 4 out of 140. We've got 3 drivers in the pits at the moment. Scott Kokas, Julian Ricci, and Earl Weaver electing to get some damage repairs here throughout the course of this initial caution flag period.
Yeah, it looks like Troy Campbell, William Fletcher, and Heath Smith all did not take the start, so leaves us with still a field of 29 drivers that took the green flag.
Phenomenal field here for a Tuesday night at a short track. You know, we've got the best in the business here on Tuesday night, ready to rock and rumble for us. See where Bentley Glazer elects to take this restart here. I believe they should be coming to the 1 degree in this next time around.
I mean,
I don't know. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it was me and I saw the run that Jensen got on that high lane. I think if I was Bentley, I'd take that high lane.
That is a good thought. We'll see what he does. I don't know how much racing you've been doing lately, but what does it do in your head when you get an early caution like this? You know, you barely get the time to get your bearings about you, and all of a sudden you got to drive slow again.
Usually, usually when that happens, it kind of throws off my rhythm for the whole race. Just because, I mean, at least for a little while, because I would just kind of, you just start to get, you know, kind of your timing down, and then it's like, oh crap, got to start all over again. Then you go, you know, what, 3 laps here, going 40 miles an hour. Definitely has to change your mindset just a little bit.
It's like we're doing a single file restart here.
Wow. I thought maybe they didn't quite complete 2 laps.
Well, either way, we're going to restart single file. That's going to change the game just a little bit on this restart, spread some people out. Not going to see as many daring moves. It's going to be more strategic on this restart. In the restart zone is Bentley Glazer. He gets on the loud pedal and gets away by a couple of car lengths by the time they get to the start-finish line.
Yeah, if you're the leader, you have got to love seeing that single file restart most of the time, because you just have a huge jump. You don't have that guy right to your outside that you're worried about trying to jump your start. And it looks like we got somebody going backwards again. Looks like Michael Melfeld Jr. went around. He's in the inside wall.
Jeff Wills has contact as well, significant contact. He's going to be out of this race.
Still green, though.
See if we can get a look at what happened there in just a little bit. Jacob Jensen, big-time slide. Justin Michael, big-time slide.
Almost
again. Guys are going to drive past some of these damaged cars, but Bentley Glazer so far, he's been able to gap Jacob Jensen just a little bit. Fastest lap of the race right there was a 23.90 out of your race leader, and then Jacob Jensen dives it in deep into the corner. Seems to be costing him a little bit of time down the back straightaway, but he's going to drive it in deep there on the bottom once again. He's getting some pretty good grip down there in 3 and 4.
Yeah, 3 and 4, he definitely is the fastest around those corners, but looks like he kind of gives it up a little bit on 1 and 2. As you can see, Bentley Glazer maintain or pull away just a little bit.
Jensen sliding around back behind his 19, and that's what we talked about. We see this in practice. These guys are going to be on edge most of the race. We saw the guys getting turned around. Caution's going to be out once again. Charlie Widener is around down the back straightaway, and damage to Alan Bergen in the 12 truck, or the 00 in this case.
At least he got some screen time. Let's go back and see what happened to Jeff Wills here.
I think turn 2 is going to be Calamity Corner here.
Definitely seems like that is a real possibility here.
Yeah,
just
loose, on
yep.
the transition, getting back from the banking, hits that inside wall a ton. And I think Milfeld just does the same thing behind.
Yeah, let's take a look, see what happened to Melfeld Jr. here. Good run. Oh, that transition there. Almost exact
He's
same.
able to lock it down, just kisses the wall a little bit. Gonna try to drive it away here, but the caution's gonna come out for an incident involving Charlie Widener and Alan Bergen.
No.
Oh, now Widener got into the back of Bergen just a little bit there.
Ricci got in the back of Widener.
A bit of a chain reaction there.
Around everybody goes. So several drivers coming down pit lane. Ricci, Phil, Widener, Barnes, Burns, Jensen, Kukas, Bergen. And it looks like Jeff Wills might be out.
Yeah, with that type of damage, I think all they can do is load it up on the hauler. And not sure he felt like sitting in the stands and watching the rest of this one. Ricci, Phil, Widener, and Bergen still on the pit lane. Widener and Phil got to get out in front of the pace car. Weaver's going to go a lap down, and it looks like Alan Bergen will as well.
So second
Ricci actually was
caution.
able to get out in front of the pace truck.
Was he?
Yeah. There he is, getting down into turn 3. It's an impressive job by that pit crew to be able to get as much work done as they possibly can and get them out in time to beat that pace truck. You know, you're not going to have the most time to repair damage under these cautions at a short track, but you might get more cautions to do so, and you know, you just keep at it. You keep on trucking along. You'll be able to pick off a few spots throughout the course of this race.
Yeah, you got to be. Your pit crew has got to be on fire, as the average pit lap time or pit lane time is going to be about 48 seconds, give or take. But the lap times are, 24.
Yeah, even under caution, these guys are barely running a minute, 4 seconds laps. So you include that pit driving time, you're looking at probably 45 seconds of damage repair per pit stop.
Like Allen's back out on the track. Earl Weaver's back out on the track too. Multiple laps down though.
He's going to be about 10 laps down, Earl Weaver is. Looks like Alan Bergen going to be coming out just around 3 laps down. He is the only car that is 1 lap down at the moment, though. So if we do get a couple more quick cautions, he might be able to take advantage of that. Bentley Glazer down and away. Green flag is out once again. Justin Michael going to try to get down to the inside of Jacob Jensen here with a strong start on the inside.
And Jacob Jensen trying to use that high line and get back into second place, but Justin Michael was driving in pretty deep here. Jensen slams the door.
Able to slam that door for second place pretty effectively as we look back further in the field. John Kenyon trying to get to the inside of Ryan Steele. And you got to wonder if these guys are starting to be a little bit concerned about that transition coming up off of 2. You know, we're 15 laps into this race. We've already had 2 cautions and numerous other incidents in the same spot. They all seem to have the same initial cause. These guys got to be driving on eggshells right now. There's an egg underneath that throttle pedal.
Yeah, you just got to be careful. As you saw there, Paul Krumrei almost did the same slide as he went from the fresh pavement to the old pavement back to the fresh pavement there, and almost slid just a little bit. Luckily for Wayne Hutchinson, he was able to maintain control here.
And Hutchinson working himself about a lane and a half up above where you see that 96. It's not hurting him very much. That lane might hurt him. He's now got Chris Walker to his inside.
Yeah, he definitely went higher than he had before. Was up in the old asphalt as the whole way around the corner. Couldn't get that grip, so slowed him down just a little bit here. Chris Walker trying to take advantage. Looks back behind him. Looked like David Weaver kind of got a little loose there. Is able to maintain control there.
Ricky Moser is a name that we haven't seen here before, making his season debut for sure. Not sure if I've seen him last year either, so could entirely be his career debut in the Western States Racing League Truck Series on Tuesday nights, but good to see him there. Wayne Fleet sitting here in 17th, and Wynn Dixie Ford F-150 looking pretty stout, up a couple of spots from where he started.
Julian Ricci and Charlie Widener, after coming down pit lanes, being involved in a couple early cautions, they're running 19th and 20th right now. And as we were looking at that, we have a battle for the lead. Jacob Jensen, Bentley Glazer side by side, all the way around the track they go.
Jacob Jensen working that inside lane. You know, he's been fast down there the whole time, but oh man, he gets a little bit loose coming up off of 2, and that's going to allow Glazer. They're getting dead even, almost door to door getting into the corner here. Bentley Glazer does not want to give this up. They both slide a little bit. Glazer's going to have a little momentum on the outside. Jacob Jensen leads that lap.
Jacob Jensen has just a little bit of a gap there. We'll see if he's going to get by. Not quite. 1 and 2.
Should have him this time.
I would say 1 and 2 seem to be where he is the slowest, but he makes up for it twofold coming through 3 and 4 as he just pulled away there from Bentley Glazer.
A little bit of a slide out of that 64, but so far so good. He's able to just carry that truck so well through the center of the corner. He goes in kind of deep, doesn't lose a lot of time, and he's able to still keep it up on the exit, which is something that you see a lot of drivers struggle with. If they drive it in deep, that generally sacrifices exit speed. As another little slide there out of the 64 and a wall tap out of the 19. 64 seems to be able to just carry that speed all throughout the corner, and definitely working out here on this longest run of the race so far.
Yeah, it looks like he has it kind of figured out where he wants to be and when he has to get back to the throttle. Ooh, onboard gets a little loose there coming out of the corner as well.
Those slides are really going to hurt you later. If you keep those up, it's going to hurt your right rear. It's going to be tougher and tougher to maintain the gas coming up off of these corners. You've got to be really careful with those slides. If you overheat that right rear, a track like this, it's going to be tough to cool it back down.
Well, you can see just how much he's fighting the steering wheel as he comes through 1 and 2. So that is definitely where he is losing speed. I mean, we saw how many people lose it coming out of turn 2, and he slid, but he was able to keep it going in the same direction. So we'll see what happens here as these guys are probably pushing their tires maybe a little bit more than they should as we go back here, side-by-side action between John Kenyon and Chris Walker. Kenyon getting by on the high side, Walker trying to battle back on the low side.
Kenyon goes way up the racetrack. We'll see if he can get this momentum on corner exit. The 23 able to rock right next to that white line. Gets him dead even door-to-door getting into turns 1 and 2. But this is that treacherous spot coming up off of turn 2, and we've seen it often with the driver up to your outside. You get loose coming up off, and Walker is going to have to concede for just a moment. Weaver getting right to the back bumper of Walker, though, as Weaver all the way up and Walker all the way down. One goes forward and one goes backwards.
Yeah, this is some tight racing back here. Michael Melfeld Jr. trying to make up for some lost time after getting loose early in the race coming off of turn 2. And he is door to door here with David Weaver.
Yeah, impressive so far for Milfelt. He's going to make this pass here on the bottom side. Like you said, we saw him spin out. Didn't get the caution. Same with Jeff Wills in the same lap. Neither one of them got the caution. It didn't come out until Bergen and Ricci got together, or Widener got together, rather. And Milfelt's already up 3 spots from where he started this race, let alone from the cars that got past him when he spun out. So he's trucking along. He's doing a pretty good job here, and be interesting to see what kind of lap times he can put down now that he's not racing around anybody.
Yeah, these guys here, basically this group of drivers are the biggest movers of the race. Ricky Bozer up 15 spots. John Kenyon 7, Keith Kellman 7, James Dura 7, Brian Barnes 6. I mean, then they're all racing pretty close to each other right now.
Yeah, under a blanket here, and side by side. Now here comes the 48 of Bozer down to the inside of Walker. Milfeld going to try to take advantage of that outside lane being open. Everybody running wide right up next to the wall, and that's going to allow Bozer to get right down and next to John Kenyon, who has to check up to avoid hitting the wall. It's like a 3-for-1 there for that 48 machine.
That definitely was in the right place at the right time as he was able to take advantage. And Michael Melfeld Jr. is going to go down to the inside, try and get past Kenyon and Bozer here as he's working the inside lane. Got a little loose there, able to maintain control though, and is right back to the inside of that 48 Chevy.
Yeah, these guys are really slipping and sliding a lot all over the racetrack. In the lead, in the mid-pack here, the battle for 10th, even towards the back of the field, these guys they are on edge here.
Yeah, you can see the drivers that start to lose it. They just go clear up to the wall and kind of just slow down, back out of it, regain their composure, and try it again here. As now you have Julian Ricci and Charlie Widener trying to get by the 16 of David Weaver. Alan Bergen back in the pits.
Yeah, he's just trying to make that thing drivable again. He's taking care of the requireds, but it's still not driving well. He knows he's numerous laps down, so he's just going to get that thing fixed up and try to get as many test laps as he possibly can.
Still a battle around Kenyon here as James Dorr goes down to the inside, going to make that pass. Wayne Fleet also trying to close in, but he is driving that 6 loose as loose can be, as you saw him go inside outside, just trying to maintain control.
Some interesting developments up in the top 5. Bob Beltrami, Charles Woods, Jeff Hollingsworth, they're all getting together here, being chased down by the 29 of Ray Partridge. He's really heating up here in this top 5 battle. Charles Woods trying to hold on to 4th, but Beltrami gets himself a little bit of a run coming up off of turn number 2. Working about half a lane to a lane higher than that 40 truck is. We'll see what kind of momentum it brings him coming up off of 4. And that 14 truck looks fast as Woods gets a little bit loose coming up off the corner.
Yeah, it looks like Beltrami kind of has that line figured out. At that time he ran it a little different, but when he was about a lane up, he stayed on that fresh asphalt for longer. As you'll see here, as he slides up that lane, gets right on that fresh asphalt and stays off and able to maintain his speed there and closes the gap on Charles Woods there.
Yeah, I really liked what he did there. Through turns 1 and 2, he does it again here. He stays right up on that white line, right on the bottom of the track, and kind of gives me the old Kevin Harvick Atlanta vibes. You just run down there, run the shorter distance. The other guy's going to slide up a little bit, and you take advantage. As another interesting factor or change up here, Bentley Glazer has lost the 2nd position to Justin Michael by a significant margin here too, and now Justin Michael is closing in just a little bit on Jacob Jensen. That gap about 1.3 seconds from a 1.5 seconds as Jensen's starting to close in on lapped traffic. That time by, Jensen able to pull it back out by a 10th.
You can see the gap there as they come down the backstretch. I wonder if maybe Bentley Glazer used up his tires a little bit too much there on that initial run, and now he's kind of paying for it a little bit. We usually see Justin Michael hold it back just enough as Charles Woods has given up 4th position to Bob Beltrami, and it looks like Jeff Hollingsworth is also going to get by.
Yeah, it's really tough to hold on to that outside once you get those right side tires up into the older asphalt. Really feel a significant difference in grip. It's tough to maintain that. As here he comes diving it down in deep into turns 3 and 4. It almost looked like he was going to try to get Hollingsworth back.
It looks like he might have just lost a little bit of control and needed to kind of regain his composure here as he's hanging right with them now, so nothing too big to worry about. You see Ray Partridge lose a little bit of ground there to Wayne Hutchinson.
Just a little bit. Hutchinson going to try to get down to the inside. And that's one of the interesting things about this front straightaway here at Iowa. It's so wide, and it's got a wider curve to it as well. If you drop all the way down to the bottom, you can definitely gain some feet on the driver you're racing up against. You lose, however, a couple miles an hour because that guy can keep the momentum up, keeping that wheel as straight as possible, whereas you got to crank it down hard left and it sets you up for a poor entry into the corner.
Now, looking at the way this is set up, I would, if they would just add a little bit more of that fresh asphalt there on that high line, I wonder how many drivers would try and more diamond the corners to carry that speed down that front stretch with how wide it is.
It's an interesting that you bring that up, because I remember when Jimmy Johnson ran the IndyCar race here. It was before they got that pavement in, but that's what he kind of said he was doing. He was driving it like it would drive Bristol. Drive it in deep, kind of move up the track, cut back down, and you get a good exit. I believe that got him to, I want to say he got a top 5. Maybe he finished 6th at Iowa. But it got Jim Johnson his best ever IndyCar finish, so good on him there.
Jacob Jensen making his way around some lap traffic here.
That's Keith Kelman in the High Rock 07 Chevy Silverado. Going to be put 1 lap down. Next in line is Scott Kukas, but he's a little ways ahead, a couple seconds up the road. Jacob Jensen's going to like having a little bit of traffic in between him and Justin Michael, kind of dirty up that air. Jensen got a bit loose coming up off of 2, though. That cost him some time. Placement here of Keith Kelman is going to cost Michael some time as he gets loose coming up off the corner. He's going to lose that 10th that he gained right back.
Yeah, that is the main problem when you're trying to drive around lap traffic. You know, they can help or hurt you tremendously if they get a little bit loose, or if you try and run a different line that you're not used to and you wind up getting loose. Looking back.
This time around, it's a 10th in the favor of Jacob Jensen, but Justin Michael running a pretty good line. As here's James Stewart trying to chase down Charlie Widener.
Charlie Widener trying to bounce back after early race caution. Looks like
big time slide there out of Jacob.
Nobody's separating Michael from Jensen now. Glazer's still holding on.
Michael trying to change up his line. Bob Beltrami still up in 4th place after getting around Charles Woods. Hollingsworth was able to get around him as well. Now trying to chase down Bob Beltrami. Charles Woods has himself a couple of friends right behind him.
Wayne Hutchinson and Ryan Steele. Michael Melfeld Jr. back inside the top 10. Ray Partridge falling back into 10th.
Really strong recovery here out of Michael Melfeld. He's putting down lap times pretty comparable with the lead 2 as well. This time by, he ran a 25:17 compared to a 25:19 from your race leader. Look at Ryan Steele just in front of these guys, trying to get to the outside of Wayne Hutchison off of turn 2. Might try to carry that momentum to the outside of Woods, getting into 3.
Yeah, trying to find a way around Hutchinson, Woods, and Steele. Still able to get by on the high side.
On the outside. Oh, man, I thought he was going to get the wall, but how he slid up coming up off of the corner, Mike.
Yeah, if this turns, I don't know, I've said it before, but Ryan Steele always seems to be one of the guys that saves his fuel the best. So if this does turn into like a fuel strategy race, trying to stretch it just enough to make it to the end, I don't think the front end is going to be too big of a problem because we had so many caution laps. But if this thing goes green, the back half of the race could be where you're trying to save some fuel as everybody's trying to go by Keith Kelman here. All 3-4 guys battling for position with that lap car on the high side.
It's a really tough spot to be getting into turns 1 and 2 when you're 3 wide with the truck if you don't really know where he's going to be with that speed differential. Millfelt able to get down to the bottom as Woods goes way up the racetrack. Put Millfelt up into 8th once again. It's going to be up 9 spots from where he started this race. Probably up 15 from where he restarted after getting turned around early on.
I was going to say, starting from almost last after getting turned around there. Caution didn't come out for him. He had to wait until the caution came out for the 0-0 there, but got the caution that he needed, got that truck fixed, and now he is on the
Partridge,
merv.
I think, has a problem. Nope, he just blinked out for a second.
Connection issue.
Yeah, well, that is kind of a problem, but not as big as I thought. Thought he maybe got turned around as he was dropping through the order, but still moving the right direction. Sitting in the top 10, Ray Partridge in that number 29.
And Paul Kermeray back here in 11th. Charlie Widener and Ricky Bozer. Oh, 07's coming down pit lane, so wonder if that's a sign of things to come or if he's pitting for other reasons.
You know, I really think if these guys are going to make it happen on one stop, or at least one stop from here, you got to make it to about 75 to offset what you saved in that first stint. Got a couple of quick cautions early on. You're able to, run as little throttle as possible and save a load of gas. So probably got a couple of laps out of that. If these guys can make it to about 75, I would feel 100% confident in their ability to make it to the end.
Yeah, they'd have to at least make it to there. Right now,
Trouble front straightaway. John Kenyon goes around. Right in front of your race leader.
Wow.
Caution is out for the 3rd time here today, and this changes everything we were just talking about with the fuel strategy. Maybe they can make it from here, but I know everybody's coming in. Oh, man.
What in the world?
He was trying to split the middle of that 3 wide and unfortunately came up in front of the 23 of Chris Walker there. And that's a classic scenario that happens here at Iowa. Everything kind of gravitates towards that outside wall down the front straightaway, and Kenyon just wasn't quite clear of the 23 getting down there. Everybody's in the pits. Yeah, Walker was struggling off of that corner, kind of wiggling around in that truck a bit.
Yeah, definitely was wiggling around there. And I think that's probably also what was kind of happening with Kenyon there is he came down pit lane about 10 laps before that, so
Yeah, these guys really showing how important it is to keep these tires cool. Keep them with as much tread as possible. Try not to slide them. I know we're seeing the 64 slide his tires quite a bit, but... Oh, Justin Michael with a problem.
Let's see what happened. Oh. I don't know.
We'll see what happens there with the 87 machine. That's definitely unfortunate for him if he's going to be all the way back in 17th after running in second for a good portion of that opening stanza of the race.
Man, Dustin.
Wonder if he maybe got a speeding penalty.
Yeah, I don't know. Dustin Burns has a black flag, so. Vincent Glazer, Hollingsworth, Beltrami, and Steele.
Sure what Justin Michael is doing there. He's coming into the pits, but we're doubled up getting ready for the restart here. Jacob Jensen with Bentley Glazer to his outside. Justin Michael's going to come out of the pits. Wonder if he was just trying to top it off.
I don't know. Pace car is in. Jensen with the button. And we are green flag racing once again here. Almost halfway through at Iowa.
Jensen able to get out to about a car length lead coming up off of turn number 2. Bentley Glazer, he sat on the pole. We know he's fast. Is he going to be able to get to the 64 and make a move on him? We've got some 2 and 3 wide action coming up off of turn 4. Julian Ricci in the middle of it.
Drivers all over the place trying to find the track position there.
Bentley Glazer staying right in the tire tracks of that 64 coming up off of turn 4 just a hair lower. Jensen tags the wall just a little bit. Is that going to give Bentley the opportunity to get down to his inside? Not quite. He's going to stay about a car length back up and getting into turn 1, but up the racetrack goes Jensen. Here comes the 19.
And Glazer's playing a little bit of cat and mouse here. Running about a half length down.
Trouble already. Or trouble again. Looks like Barry Phil and Earl Weaver have had a problem. Barry Phil hard into that tire barrier. Earl Weaver has gone straight to the pit lane. Oh, 98 loose coming up off and tags the 46. Heavy contact to the inside wall there. A lot of damage to that 98 truck as well. You can see the steering was not where it was supposed to be for a truck driving straight.
Yeah, definitely not the way you wanted it to be. I think we have some takers coming down pit lane. Julian Ricci, Brian Barnes, James Dewar, Todd Michaels, Chris Walker, St. Jensen, Keith Kelman, Barry Phil, John Kenyon. Earl Weaver has a meatball flag trying to get that unit repaired, so we'll see how well that works.
Well, we're just past halfway here. 4 cautions in this event. Western States Racing League is traditionally very clean, even at these short tracks, so pretty much up to par with what we expect out of these guys. Had a couple of quick cautions to start the race and a couple of quick cautions right around the halfway point. But you know what they say, Mike? Cautions breed cautions, and the later we get into this thing, the more amped up these drivers are going to be, the more pumped up they're going to be to make passes, especially at a track where it seems to be difficult to complete the pass.
Yeah, definitely going to be something to look at. Also, I mean, these guys just ran, 40-ish green flag laps and then they went and put on some fresh tires, and that usually also tends to breed more cautions as well. And I believe we're probably going to wind up being single file because I don't know that they completed a couple laps here.
I think you might be right, Mike. We'll keep an eye on that as they come around to take the one to green on lap 75. So we'll have 65 laps to go when we take the green flag. Jacob Jensen seems antsy to get up there. He's trying to rub doors with the pace truck, but it's for all intents and purposes a hologram, so he'll just drive through it.
It looks like drivers towards the back of the field, 15th through 19th, came down and filled up their trucks. So we'll see if that's a strategy play that's going to come to fruition here, or if everybody's still going to have the opportunity to make another pit stop here.
We'll see. I mean, I know Justin Michael came in and topped off fuel. There is a chance he thinks that it might be that close, and that coming in one lap later under the yellow could be the game changer, the difference maker. Interesting call to give up second place track position. I mean, unless he had some sort of problem or penalty on his stop. But Jacob Jensen, he's going to have a hard charge for Bentley Glazer to his outside once again. Jeff Hollingsworth has made it up to third. Bob Beltrami remains fourth. Wayne Hutchison rounds out your top five.
Back, green flag racing here. Jacob Jensen with the shot into 1 and 2. Bentley Glazer hanging right with him down to the inside. Looks like that's Wayne Hutchinson trying to make quick work here of Bob Beltrami on his outside.
Beltrami back into 5th place as Hutchison completes that pass. Michael Milfeld just behind him, trying to get around the 27 of Ryan Steele, trying to also make it to the inside of Bob Beltrami. Not a lot of momentum down there on the inside. Glazer right in the tire tracks with your leader, Jensen. Not too far off of him is Jeff Hollingsworth. And Glazer's trying to run a little bit different line than Jacob is. He's trying to get lower on the exit. He's trying to not run exactly where that 64 is, but it's tough that Jensen's fast.
Yeah, Glazer knew who he was going to have to contend with here, especially after last week. I mean, Jensen put on a clinic last week, leading over 140 laps. This week, Glazer sat on the pole and is trying his best to finish the race there in P1, as he is trying just to maintain the gap between Jensen and himself there. But he also has a rearview mirror full of Jeff Hollingsworth as well.
Yeah, but when you see the 64 in front of you getting that thing sideways like that, as long as you're not doing the same thing, you've got to feel like you're at least getting some sort of an advantage. As the 64 got up into the wall, that cost him a little bit of speed down the front straightaway, and now Glazer's going to try to find a way to get around him. Milfeld still racing side by side with Beltrami. That's a battle for 5th place. Be able to complete that pass.
Everybody's kind of single filed out now.
You guys start trying to move around and get a little bit of momentum on the outside. It'll shape up a little bit different than it did at the start of this race. These guys have already put some rubber down up there, so it's going to be easier to make grip earlier in the run. Oh, and around goes Crumray. He's going to hit the inside wall. Same spot coming up off of turn number 2 that we have seen get numerous drivers here today. Paul Crumray, the latest victim here of that treacherous turn 2.
Yeah, that turn 2 is just not taking any prisoners here. They just keep just getting just slightly loose, and then they can't catch it coming down the backstretch.
Look at Jacob Jensen here, and this is kind of what we saw out of him in that first run with Bentley Glazer. He just kind of kept him close enough. And the further on they got into the run, Glazer just couldn't hold on.
Fastest 5 on the track right now is Jensen, Hollingsworth, Glazer, Ray Partridge, and Scott Kukas.
Wayne Fleet had himself a little bit of a moment there. Excellent save. Able to continue on.
Another driver on the move is going to be that 87 Toyota of Justin Michael. Started at the tail end of the field after coming down pit lane after the caution there. Already up into P10.
Yes, and about 3 seconds off of the race lead. He's probably going to need him a little bit more yellow flag if he wants to try to get up into 10 for the race win here with just over 50 laps to go. But this is the Western States Racing League. Most importantly, this is motorsport. You never know what's going to happen at any given moment.
Yeah, Michael Mofeld Jr. up into P4. Definitely has to be one of the biggest recovery drives we've seen in quite a little while here.
Phenomenal drive out of him to get up to 4th place. He's still running pretty quick. I don't know if he's going to be able to get up to the leaders, but he's got himself a chance at a podium.
Action on the track. Everybody's fairly close to each other. Just nobody's hasn't built up any momentum to try and make some passes here. And if you're seeing this, you've got to be thinking, fuel strategy and what do we have to do to get a little track position here.
I think that's the important word there, Mike. Track position. If you're not going to have to make another pit stop, a lot of these guys might be in their beds for the end of the race if we don't get a caution. And you can't really anticipate getting one. But with that being said, people are going to be fighting extra hard to defend. They're going to be trying extra hard to get those spots that people are defending. Everybody's going to be on their A game right now, so passing will be difficult. But if you can get it done, you'll probably lose a lot of time, but it'll be worth it. Steele trying to work just half a lane up above Bob Beltrami. Not quite able to get that momentum coming up off of the corner. I wonder if we're going to have to wait until these cars fall off just a little bit more. Start seeing some of that speed differential.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we are going to probably have to see here. Is who was able to save their tires? Because I believe tires are going to be what is going to wind up winning you this race here. I mean, if you're making any sort of passes here.
I think you're absolutely right. Being able to get onto the throttle and hold it steady coming up off of especially turn 2. going to be key for winning this race. I've seen Jacob Jensen lose a couple of tenths with his slides coming up off of 2. Doesn't seem to kill his tires like I expected it to. But we're definitely seeing him slide around and lose some time with it. Now you see Beltrami with a huge run coming up on Wayne Hutchison. He's able to get around him. And Hutchison up into P5. Beltrami back to 6th.
Beltrami riding on the edge there. He is maintaining his speed.
He's going to try to get down to the inside here. Wayne drives it in deep, trying to close that door, and he's able to.
Yeah, I think what you just saw is exactly what you were talking about earlier. People are going to be battling a little bit harder knowing that they don't have much left. I mean, this is kind of where they are unless something happens out of the ordinary here.
Well, I mean, at this point, I would say caution changes everything. You've got 35 laps on your tires, 40 laps to go. If you've got them, use them. That could shake things up, especially if some guys try something different. Maybe somebody who used up their tires early on and wants to try to save a set for the end, a la Milfelt. Or, maybe it's Jacob Jensen who just says, all right, I'm safest on fresh tires, and I'm going to drive away on fresh tires. Still trying to work over Beltrami.
Beltrami got a little loose there. Still close the gap some more.
Battle up front is no longer much of a battle. It's up to 0.8 of a second between first and second.
Justin Michael getting a little loose there.
Closing in on Ray Partridge for 9th place. Charles Wood's not too far in front of him. Justin Michael. I mean, I just don't know what you can say about his race. I mean, he ran from 6th all the way up to 2nd. Looked like he was in a position to be kind of chasing down the leader, or at least running equal lap times with him late in the run. Something happened under that yellow flag. He came back into pit. Lost all of that track position. He's going to try to get one back here from Partridge. Goes all the way down to the bottom, and Partridge says, that's yours. I'm not going to fight you here. Justin Michael back up to 9th place.
Yeah, Justin Michael was the fastest after we were 40 laps on green flag run there. So I imagine he's going to get faster as this race goes on, but will it be enough? I don't know that it will. We have a battle up here for 3rd place. Michael Milfeld Jr. just drove right on by Jeff Hollinsworth.
Milfeld a little bit quicker than your race leader that last time around as well. So we'll see if he can start to close in that 3-second gap up to Jacob Jensen. Bentley Glazer has fallen down to about 1.2 seconds. He's continuing to lose time by about 1/10 to 1/10.5 per lap.
Justin Michael just put Charles Woods back behind him. Gonna have to close in on Ryan Steele and Bob Beltrami.
When Michael is not in traffic or actively racing somebody, he is one of, if not the quickest cars on the racetrack. That last time by a 25.03 compared to your leader, a 25.16. It's 1/10.5. I know it's not a whole heck of a lot, but it can add up. And again, I mean, if he can get a couple more spots, he gets a convenient caution and is able to chase down that 64 late in the race. As here comes Steele up to the outside of Beltrami. He's been trying to set that move up for about 10 to 15 laps, and he finally gets it done. Beltrami's going to try to fight back on the inside lane, but the momentum going to Ryan Steele up on the outside. But Steele up into 6th place as he's going to try to chase down Wayne Hutchison. And now Justin Michael closes in on the back bumper of Beltrami. Beltrami may be losing 2 for 1 here in just the course of 2 laps.
Yeah, definitely. You see Justin Michael go down to the inside, going to try and make that pass on Beltrami. Beltrami and Steele side by side. All it did was draw Justin Michael closer, and he took advantage here, up to 7th now.
I think Beltrami got the wall a little bit down the back straightaway. That's kind of what allowed Justin Michael to close into his back bumper. Set him up nicely for the pass. And now he's looking at Steele just in front of him, going for 6th place.
Keith Kelman trying to stay out of the way.
Jensen is just in his own zip code right now. He's 2/10 quicker than the rest of the field. Justin Michael excluded, but Michael, he's got a long ways to go in terms of track position as he's to the inside of Ryan Steele. Not able to complete the pass there. That's going to cost him a ton of time. Getting down to the bottom right next to that white line. Again, similar to that old Harvick Atlanta line. But Steele able to hold tough. Oh, man, they almost hit down the back straightaway. Steele able to hold tough. Justin Michael might have been trying to get some side draft. Still side by side, and it's a couple tenths that they've lost to the race leader just by battling side by side.
Yeah, side by side is not helping either one of them here. 30 laps to go. Ryan Steele trying to hang tough on that outside line, but Justin Michael closes the door, slides up behind Wayne Hutchinson, and now he is going to try and go to the outside of Hutchinson and make this pass here.
Going to get up into the wall just a little bit. Cost him a 10th or 2 coming down the front straightaway. Steele not able to take advantage of that, but Michael going to cut back down to the bottom coming up off of the corner and regain that time that he lost on Hutchinson by that wall scrape. Gets a little loose up off of the corner, uses that as the opportunity to point his nose to the inside of the 17, and he's going to try to make quick work of him. Already nose to nose as they come off of turn number 4.
Staying down to the inside, side by side still. Can't quite make the pass. Justin Michael trying to make that bottom work, just can't quite get those passes done as quick as he would like. Wayne Hutchinson battling back on the high side. Side by side they go, and they are closing in on Jeff Hollingsworth. Justin Michael now is just to that rear bumper there, and he is going to try and make the pass here coming into 1 and 2.
Yeah, he's already got the setup. He drives it in there deep. Hollingsworth isn't really going to put up as much of a fight as the 27 and 17 did. He's going to fall in line, put Justin Michael back up into 4th place. He's going to be 5.5 seconds behind the race lead. He's getting himself back up to these podium positions after restarting in 17th position after 2 pit stops and 1 caution.
He is closing in now on Michael Melfelt Jr. He goes to the inside of Keith Kelman.
And Milfelt is also closing in on Bentley Glazer. That's a second, or under a second of a gap between 2nd and 3rd. We've still got a lot of positions up for grabs here, even if we don't see that caution flag with 25 laps to go. Jacob Jensen holds on to about a 3.6 second lead over Bentley Glazer. And it's going to be Michael Milfelt Jr. in 3rd. Justin Michael, then Jeff Hollingsworth rounding out your top 5. Wayne Hutchison, Ryan Steele, Bob Beltrami, Ray Partridge, Charlie Widener in the top 10. And we've got Brian Barnes, Charles Woods, Julian Ritchie, James Stewart, David Weaver, and Todd Miles, the last drivers on the lead lap. Wayne Fleet actually is just barely still on the lead lap. 17 drivers still on the lead lap at this stage in the game. And Barry Phil right in front of Jacob Jensen. Jacob's going to have to take evasive action coming up off of turn number 2. Almost sent that car careening into the inside wall, which you've seen happen to numerous drivers today.
Yeah, that was the worst possible spot you could come up on a driver there.
Another slide there. Wayne Fleet's going to go to the bottom of the racetrack. Jacob probably not going to be the biggest fan of that. Causes him to run a lane higher than he wants to. Gets himself a little bit loose. Has to check up. These lap trucks are not being super kind to your race leader. Granted, Wayne Fleet, he was on the lead lap at that point. He's got every right to try to fight for his lap. And Barry Phil, he was not... There was no malicious intent with that. It was just a poor timing for Jacob Jensen to need to use all of the racetrack there coming up behind Barry Phil.
Yeah,
It was not that they were unkind. It was just an unlucky situation.
Yeah, no, he stayed high. He was out of the way, but this wrong timing. If he would have been a little bit further down the road or a little bit slowed up just a little bit, it would have been way better, but it was just that perfect timing.
20 laps to go. Going to be 19 when they come across the stripe. 4.5 seconds. Back to Bentley Glazer now. Justin Michael has gotten around Michael Milfelt Jr. That's a battle for third. Michael going to be looking at second for Bentley Glazer. And I tell you what, man, he's got to be hoping. Just one more yellow. Let me get some fresh tires on this. Oh, big slide there. Don't be the yellow, Justin.
Rein that 87 in as you're sitting on the podium here with a fairly good finish.
Yeah, it's still early in the season. Oh, Jacob Jensen, big time slide coming up off of turn 2. It's working for him. Bentley Glazer not able to capitalize on these slides. There'll be some more traffic here in front of your leader. We get towards the last, or in the last 17 laps now, you got to start asking yourself, if you're second on back, what do we got to do to beat this guy? Is it going to take an extra sim session each week, you know, jump on for an hour more of practice, or well, I don't really know what else you can do. It's a fixed setup league, so
a bounty.
Yeah, that's less fun.
I don't know. He's been lights out. I mean, he won, 6 times last season? First championship here of the Western States Racing League, and comes out round 1, dominates the race. Round 2 at Iowa here, putting on a heck of a performance as well.
Justin Michael's about to take second away from Bentley Glazer. He's closed into about 1/3 of a second, 1/4 of a second now, coming up off of turn 2, and they've got some lap trucks just in front of him. Sideways is Bentley Glazer coming up off of turn number 2. Justin Michael just continues to pick them away one by one. Got the opportunity down to the inside of the 19. He's all the way down to the inside, and Justin Michael able to take it from Bentley Glazer. Not much of a fight there. That's second place for Justin Michael. It's a 5-second gap between him and Jacob Jensen. I know it's early. I know Jacob Jensen has led over 250 laps already this very, very young season. But if Justin Michael can keep himself, in the hunt, if he can make all of the races, I think these two are going to have themselves a pretty phenomenal battle for this championship. Michael's starting to close in, but with 12 laps to go and a 5-second gap, that seems to be an unattainable ask.
Yeah, running almost identical lap times. I don't foresee it happening. But I know Jensen's working around more lap cars than Justin Michael was for the moment, but now he is clear again.
And no real major reason for Jacob to push at this point. He's coming to 10 laps to go, got almost a 5-second gap. Realistically, you could lose half a second a lap and he still wouldn't get to you, or wouldn't be able to pass you. So, just take it nice and easy here. You gain nothing by pushing this truck harder than you need to. You don't get extra points for the more time in between you and second place. You just got to hope that a situation like this doesn't turn into something a little bit more dangerous.
What could go wrong? We have 6 cars battling for 3 lanes of traffic there, so.
Hollingsworth almost gets into the back of Fleet there. Fleet gets up into the wall. Barry Phil going to go down to avoid. Everybody gets through. 9 laps to go. Iowa Speedway, the 7/8 mile racetrack in the heart of corn country. 20 miles east of Des Moines in a town called Newton. It's a fun racetrack, Mike. I've been here. It's super cool. No matter what you're seeing, I've seen NASCAR and IndyCar here, and they put on a great show.
Widener, Barry Phil,
Oh, little
almost
contact
touching
there with Widener and Phil.
Yeah, I definitely think that's on the to-do list, is to get out to more racetracks.
Jensen had to check up with Keith Kelman there. It cost him a bit of time, but Justin Michael dealing with that traffic that Jacob Jensen was dealing with 5 or 10 laps ago, costing him some of that time now.
Michael Melfeld Jr. battled into 3rd place.
Yeah, phenomenal run by him. He started 17th in this race. He got up close to the top 10, got turned around, had to work his way back up into the top 3. 5 laps to go. He's in really good position to capitalize on what was not a great start to this race.
Involved in the first caution, went clear back to 28th, 29th, and now here he is up into P3.
I forget he was involved with the first one as well. I remember him spinning off a 2 and not getting the yellow, but he was involved in that first accident as well. It's Jacob Jensen. He's going to have 3 laps to go. He's still got 5.2 seconds over Justin Michael. You can see it on the left. That gap has not changed much since the 87 put himself into second place.
Got 2 laps to go, and he has got to be feeling pretty good at the start of this young season. Half a lap and the white flag will fly, and he will feel a lot better.
White flag is in the air. This thing is going to be official. Jacob Jensen has 5.2 seconds over Justin Michael. He took the race lead just after lap number 20, and realistically, he has not looked back. Going through turns 3 and 4, Jacob Jensen, the defending series champion, is going to go 2 for 2 in 2026. Jensen gets it done in corn country. Justin Michael comes home in second. Milfeld Jr., a strong recovery to third. Bentley Glazer and Ryan Steele round out your top 5. Hutchison, Beltrami, Hollingsworth, Ray Partridge, or Widener, and then Partridge round out the top 10. Ryan Barnes, Julian Ritchie, James Dewar, Charles Woods, and Todd Miles in top 15. We've got Weaver, Bozer, Fleet, Kukas, and Shane Jensen. Dustin Burns, Keith Kelman, Barry Phil, Chris Walker, Alan Bergen, Paul Crumray, John Kenyon, Earl Weaver, and Jeff Wills rounding out the drivers who started the race. And now to finish it all off, Jacob Jensen is going to burn it down. Gonna get some love taps from the rest of the drivers here. There's Barry Phil coming to say what's up. Really cool way to wave to your friend right there. Jacob Jensen gets it done again, man. And I can't tell you how impressive that is. I mean, we talked about how incredible of a season he had last year. And, well, 2 for 2 is that's a crazy way to start the season. Go ahead and get with our race winner here. Jacob, it's Liam and Mike up in the booth. You got a copy.
I got you guys. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. We're here for our weekly podcast with you after WSRL Tuesday nights. How was your race today?
It was pretty good. It was a lot of fun at the start of the race, racing with Bentley. It was a really good race, and then towards the end there, that lawn fuel saving run was a lot of fun to kind of make your way through and be able to save a little bit of gas to make sure you made it to the end.
Did you have any doubts when you made that pit stop around lap 65, I believe is when you made your stop? Do you have any doubts at that point that you were going to be able to make it to the end?
Yeah, I was. In practice, it was kind of difficult making it to 70 laps on a tank of gas, so having 5 more didn't help, but that caution really made it so that it was a lot easier to do, and then, yeah, I was able to save enough and keep Bentley behind me during that to even have a little bit of feel for a burnout, so it was pretty fun.
Now, we saw Justin Michaels start to chase you down at the end of the first stint here before that mid-race caution period. Were you at all concerned about the speed that 87 was showing?
Yeah, that 87 was definitely fast. He was fast last week too, and yeah, during that first run I was a little concerned, and then around 60-ish he started falling off again. I don't know what happened to him at that pit stop, and then he made his way back up here for a second, so it was a very good race for him. But yeah, he's definitely someone that's fast enough to make it so that I have to work for this.
Well, Jacob, before we let you get out of here and celebrate, who helps you get it done, and who do you want to thank for such a strong performance this week?
Well, you always got to thank the good Lord. I want to thank my dad. He had a okay race today. Got some damage pretty early on. And then got to thank my Uncle Leonard. My grandma's birthday is this week, so I want to say happy birthday to her. I got to thank the sponsors, TWRS. I got to thank Icon. I got to thank Dubby. I got to thank WLT2 Motorsports. And then I got to thank you guys and Bob for putting on the league. And then I want to thank my friends. So, yeah, a whole bunch of great people.
Well, awesome stuff, Jacob. It's a lot of support goes a long way. It's showing us here. You go 2 for 2 to start the season. Next week we go to Nashville Super Speedway. How do you feel about that one?
Nashville's is a very, very weird racetrack for sure, being the big, huge concrete mile and a third. So it'll be interesting to see how it handles. It's usually pretty tight in these trucks, but maybe it'll loosen up a bit and it'll be a pretty fun race. So
awesome stuff, Jacob. Thank you for joining us, and sure we'll talk to you again very soon.
Thank you very much. Have a nice one.
All right, and then next we've got Justin Michael.
Hey, Justin, Mike up in the booth, man. How's it going?
Good. How are you all?
Yeah, not too bad. Well, that was a heck of a run there. I know, $1 million question, I guess. Did you just come down pit lane to top off on fuel again, or what kind of happened there on that mid-race caution?
No, I got speeding, so I was in the back already. So yes, and then I did come in and top off. Wouldn't have needed to. I had enough laps at the end. I don't know how many laps he had, but we didn't know if he had enough to finish or not because Mike was pretty short. So, but yeah, I didn't have anything for him. I'm terrible at this track. I'm not a short track guy. So this week was just terrible. So hopefully we can get some good numbers once we get the tracks that we really like.
Yeah, definitely. We thought maybe it was a penalty or something of that sort, but you got a little more fuel, and you were able to save those tires and run down P2 here. That wasn't a strong track for you at these two short tracks. But next week we head to Nashville. How are you feeling headed into next week?
It's okay. It's still a shorter track, so then you got Wilkesboro after that. So I don't know. There's 4 or 5 races there where I'm not going to be that impressed.
Well, at least you have a few you can kind of throw away, and maybe you can get those numbers back up and battle for a championship again if you're going to be around for the whole season.
I think so. It's kind of late. I work kind of early, so we'll see. Oh, I should be able to make them.
Definitely, Matt. Well, congrats on the P2 finish. Anybody you want to thank before we get you out of here tonight?
Yeah, just you guys for calling a great race. Everybody out there watching, Bob for putting on the leg, and good clean race there towards the end. So glad for all the guys out there, and we'll see you next week, and maybe we'll go caution free next week.
Definitely, Matt. Well, congrats once again, and we'll see what you can do next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, now we'll go ahead and bring in Michael Milfelt. Michael, it's Liam and Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you guys.
And you had a roller coaster of a race. We saw you involved in that first caution, and then we saw you spin around off of turn 2. When you didn't get the caution, you still were able to get yourself up into 3rd place. What did it take to get that done? I mean, you had to pass more cars than anybody else on the track.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot of practice. I did another league race before this, so when we jumped in, I wasn't used to the setup yet. I should have got a few more laps of practice in so I could figure out the truck, but it wasn't too bad. Coming through the field was rough. There's a lot of fast guys out here. It was fun, though.
We saw you started in 17th, and you worked your way up kind of early on before that second incident. Did you have much damage? Did it affect the handling of the race car, and how long did it take to get that taken care of?
Nah, no damage at all. I just barely clipped it. Didn't have any optional at all.
Amazing. Well, you come home in 3rd place, a super strong start to the season so far. But before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank before we send you off to Nashville?
Thank Bob for the league, all the admins. Thank my teammates, Heath and Charlie, and my honorary teammate, Justin. Thank you guys for the broadcast.
Well, thank you, Mike, for spending a Tuesday night with us and everybody, and we'll be seeing you again soon.
You guys.
All right, well, that's our podium finishers.
Yeah, definitely. Was a pretty good race overall as Jacob Jensen just put it to the field once again. Justin Michael came through the field, wound up 2nd. Michael Milfeld Jr. in 3rd. Bentley Glazer, Ryan Steele round out that top 5. Wayne Hutchinson, Bob Beltrami, Jeff Hollingsworth, Charlie Widener, Ray Partridge are the top 10 finishers. Brian Barnes, Julian Ricci, James Dewar, Charles Woods, Todd Miles, David Weaver, Ricky Bozer, Wayne Fleet are the top 18.
Yeah, then after that, Jeff Wills, Justin Michael. Well, no, that's wrong.
Then we got Scott
Got a glitch
Kukas.
on my end. I'm not sure.
Scott Kukas, Shane Jensen rounds out the top 20. Dustin Burns, Keith Kelman, Barry Phil, Chris Walker, Alan Bergen, the top 25. Carl Krummerai and John Kenyon, 26th, 27th. Earl Weaver and Jeff Wills was the last driver to start the race. Heath Smith, Troy Campbell, and William Fletcher all did not take part. But that is where we end tonight. The pleasure once again, Liam, to join you in the booth. Anything you want to say before we get you out of here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely incredible racing out of the WSRL as always. Mike, are you full time with this now, or is this just a
Ye-
one-off gig here?
I should be good to go for quite a while anyway. We'll see what the spring and summer kind of brings, but the plan is to be here every night, or every Tuesday night.
Well, awesome stuff, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a great season. We've got a lot of fun tracks coming our way, and we've got a couple more short tracks. Then we go to Daytona, and yeah, it's gonna be a blast. But before we let you all go here, just want to say, be like Biff, and as you walk through the streets of life, please don't play in traffic. Take it easy, folks.